Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Higher Moment Mastermind. I'm Shira Lotzar, happy to be your host and joined by my colleagues Vern and Alki. And we are delighted to support you in any way we can with your job search. As per usual, this is an open Q&A for the most part, where you can ask any job search question you like. We are happy to help you by way of background. I'm a recruiter and a career coach. Vern is a former HR executive and a career coach, and Alki is a recruiter, also a career coach. We all do the same things. And we're delighted to support you. And in addition, we have had in the last number of months some opportunities to do some, when appropriate, some breakouts to help you all with networking with each other. And opening up your LinkedIn profiles and seeing if there are any first level connections that might be supportive for folks. So we are happy to have you here. All right, so who would like to kick us off? Who has a question? And Peter, before you go, Sonia, Peter, you had recently started a new role. Is that something happened because of the shutdown?
Yeah, I got furloughed last week.
Okay.
So this was actually my first. I started at VA September 8th, and so this is actually my first time. I'm catching up on things and catching up. I literally have not even up had time to update my LinkedIn profile.
Okay. Are you
So
are you in job transition? Actually, like formal, like are
no,
you leaving? Oh, okay.
no, no.
You're just
Um,
furloughed. Okay.
I'm just here to um
Catch some nuggets.
yeah, to learn, to keep
Okay.
learning. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
just making sure. Okay, because we were very happy for you when you landed that role. So just
Yeah,
making
no,
sure.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, Sonia, you had a
I
question.
do. I have a question. Do you remember, Shira? I know you remember this. Alki, probably you too. You remember how we used to have the temporary staffing firms where they would you can go in and register with them and they'll send you out on temp assignments with different companies. Are they doing that anymore? That's a
I didn't
question.
hear that they weren't. Did you think that they weren't?
Yeah, I have been I've talked to a few, and they don't seem to be moving in that direction. And I was wondering, is that a lost uh,
Mhm.
cause?
Mhm.
Alki, I have not heard any, I've not heard anything different in the temp staffing world. Have you?
No.
They're still doing it. What that looks like now with everything going on and the way that everybody's age biasing and all of that, it could look different everywhere. We had somebody recently, um, not recently, but her name is skipping me right now, but who did admin work, she got a temp assignment, and I think she got another one after that. So they're still doing it, but what that looks like now, I'm not sure, Sonia.
Okay.
Well, and for what it's worth, I mean, and this is a general statement, temp agencies, just like traditional search firms, they have specialties, right? They have certain career verticals or industry verticals. A lot of temp agencies almost strictly place administrative professionals, so they tend to lean in toward those kinds of folks, and they might think that a person who's much more seasoned than that or more at higher level might be overqualified, even though I know it's just a temp assignment. But their preference, right, is for the admin. With that said, there is a firm by the name of Justin Bradley. They used to be known just for accounting search, just like placing accounting and finance professionals. However, several years ago, they opened up a practice area for contract employees, not finance, just anyone. I mean, all kinds of professionals. And the woman, she was actually on this call. She used to be one of our experts. Her name is Rachel Pellegrini, P as in Paul, Ellegrini, Pellegrini. And last I checked on LinkedIn, she was still doing it, and they were doing nationwide, contract placement. So she's somebody to reach out to. I think it's rpellegrini@justinbradley.com. You can reach her on LinkedIn. So that there are firms that do that kind of thing, just very sort of random, kinds of assignments. But the traditional temp staffing firms, the last I knew, were very administrative focused, and they were kind of leaning into those kinds of professionals. So for what that's worth. But I know Sonia, Pat Hall Janes, right, from the HR source. Last I talked to her, she was still doing that work and placing temp, permanent, and all that just for HR, which I know that's your field.
Mhm. Okay.
So if that's helpful.
Thanks for the info. I thought I haven't heard. I know quite a few people that's in this position. Um, and cause like for myself, my company got rid of HR and outsourced it because it's cheaper. I
Yeah.
know another few my HR colleagues who went through the same thing. And so I said, well, I've been applying, but oh my goodness, they're interviewing 20 candidates for one job.
Oh.
How can you?
More than that.
More than
Yeah,
that, Sonia.
Yeah.
This is why, yeah, this is a whole other conversation. We've been exploring that very thing
okay.
in for a while now. So happy to talk about it. Let me grab Monica's
Okay,
question, and
I'll
then we'll
leave
come
it
back
alone.
to
You
it. Yeah, no,
answered my
you're
question.
not, this is nothing unusual. This is the market for
Bef-
everybody. So
bef- bef-
we have what to say about it for sure.
Okay.
Before going to Monica too, real quick for everybody on the call, one good strategy, if you haven't thought about it, and I'm not saying it's going to be an automatic, but you have a lot of people, looking for full-time work, and you have a lot of people looking for whatever. One strategy, and I mean, on the one hand, Robert Half, I have some experience with Robert Half. On the one hand, they come across a lot of temp to permanent roles. However, they also have a reputation that a lot of people say too that Robert Half never gets back to you, blah blah blah. But going this route, the temp to perm route, also, if you haven't really put time into that, may be something worth exploring. Everybody on the call, you may want something permanent, but a lot of the roles that certain staffing firms that have a temp side, they do temp to perm also, where they basically get somebody in, they try you out for a while, but the plan is, if it works out, to make you permanent. So while everybody else is looking for permanent full time and jamming up the job boards, it might be worth your time to add that to your strategy if you haven't, or bump that up as part of your strategy. It's a good way to get in and get known for permanent and break through the walls of, hey, we don't trust you, you're a stranger, you're just like the 400 other people applying. It's a good way to get known, and get placed temp first and then go to perm.
Yeah, think about the difference between interviewing for a job where you're telling them how good you are and
And then showing
all of your
them.
accomplishments, and being in a temp position where you're actually demonstrating those skills. That's a world of difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other little tip on as a jettison from that, just the whole getting noticed thing. We always talk about the fact that the job boards are flooded. And by the way, there's a recent stat. I'm going to probably say this is the first time I'm going to say it on this call, probably say it another 100 times on the other calls, is that Ashby, there's an ATS company called Ashby. They came out with a stat, did a survey in May, and they said that only 3% of people who apply online get hired. Do you hear that? 3%. That didn't surprise me actually, because we've been talking about how incredibly clogged the system is for every which reason you can imagine, from just the flood of people to the fact that there are AI chatbots that are creating fake resumes, to the fact that a lot of people who are on unemployment insurance are required to apply to minimum 2 jobs, whether or not they're qualified. Like there are all of these reasons. And so it's crowded. With that said, there is a little sort of sidebar to that. If you find a job that you are qualified for and interested, go to the company's website, apply there. That oftentimes can be a little bit of a scoot around, to actually possibly get noticed beyond the job board. So that's just a little tip of the day, but only 3%. Oh, by the way, another stat that they came out with is that if you do apply online and on a job board, if you apply within the first 96 hours, your chances of getting seen go up by 8x. Apply within the first 96 hours, chances of getting seen go up by 8x. So.
But you've got to catch the job
You
just
got to
at the
catch the
right
job
time,
within the
right?
first 96 hours. That's
You gotta
right.
be lucky.
That's
So,
right. And Google Aggregator can be a very good, very helpful for that.
yeah.
If you just literally go to Google, just regular Google search, um, and type in, like human resources jobs near me, something like that. And you hit on then there's a little job button. What will come up are just this aggregate of all the different jobs from all the different job boards. And you can click on another filter that actually says you can sort by, date of posting. So Google Aggregator can be a really good source. But even then, we do not recommend, in this call, we do not recommend people use the job boards because of the reasons I just said. We are so focused on networking. So we'll continue to keep talking about networking as we go along, but that is really always, 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 always our focus is not the job boards.
Yeah.
Okay, Monica, you've been patient.
Go ahead.
Well, you've kind of answered my questions. I had a really awesome experience with temporary staffing firms. Like when I was about 2 years out of college, when I was transitioning from being a reporter for a daily newspaper to international development. I had an assignment where for Academy for Educational Development, which turned into FHI 360 related to AIDS. And then I got placed with Camp Dresser and McKee on, projects related to the Middle East peace talks, and they reactivated my security clearance, and it was great. And I went from $9 an hour to $13 an hour, and so it was just like so amazing. But I was wondering, I was young, underpaid at the time. But now, if you're older, it doesn't seem like it would be the same happy experience if they were maybe going to pay you less. And so I was wondering if the person who was speaking, I don't have her name on the screen, if that's if that's the case, that somebody young is like placeable for perm to temp to perm, and it's just a
I
win-win for
mean,
everybody.
look, age bias is still there. We know that. There's no question there. It does exist. We're not going to ignore that. But with that said, a lot of temp firms are going to be, they're looking for qualifications. They want a good fit for the
Yeah,
employer. If you're the good
yeah,
fit, if you are really qualified. And the other thing too is with temp, yes, to Alki's point, it can go temp to firm or what we call temp to hire. But at the end of the day, that employer needs a quick fill. And even if you are overqualified, meaning you have lots of years of experience
right,
more than they need, the employer still needs a good person. And sometimes a temp
right.
agency might be more flexible because it's a temporary thing and they're not worried about long-term
Yeah,
fit.
well, I would
Like,
be totally open to that if I could find the right ones. Because, like I said, it was such a positive experience. And
so
so many USAID contractors went that route because they wanted to make sure that people could work in a multicultural office, which some people can't.
And actually, Julie just asked, how do you find them? Not hard, actually. I mean, if you just literally Google, temporary staffing firms, you can even go to LinkedIn and put that phrase into the search
Yeah,
bar. There are tons and tons of them. Now, mind you, some of them again have career verticals, but there are a lot locally. Like think of it, if you were an employer and you were looking to hire yeah, there you go. Fran said Adecco Kelly. Norel is another one. There's a lot of them out there. Uh, if you were an employer trying to hire a temp staffing firm, what would you do? You'd Google it, right? So just real, it's not that hard. There's like lists
yeah,
and lists and lists if you just Google it, and you can just reach out. And what I would do is go to their website and see if that company has career verticals. So, for example, in Sonia's case, HR. There are some firms who have an HR practice or a finance practice or whatever, or not. They might just be generic, but you go to the website and see if they have those practice areas. And if your field aligns with one of their practices, you can just reach out. Yeah. And also, too, with recruiters in general, not just temp staffing, what a lot of people don't know is that many recruiters, permanent, right, traditional search people, will accept random invitations on LinkedIn. Now, not anybody for any situation. Again, it has to be in line with you. So if you're in the technology world and you type in technical recruiter and you find a bunch of technical recruiters, which there are a bunch, most of them will accept you because you are in their field, which means they want you part of their database. LinkedIn is a database. I don't know if people know that. LinkedIn's a database. All those profiles are as part of the database. Or if you're in finance or whatever it is, just you can type in LinkedIn, right? HR recruiter, such a recruiter. If that recruiter specializes in your area, connect with them. And you don't even, oftentimes you don't even have to do a note. You can. And if you do a note, then I would do something that's very specific around what you're looking for and say, hey, I'm open to these kinds of opportunities. And that's it. You'll probably not hear back from them, but if they accept you, then at least they can hopefully find you if they do a search for you. John?
Question about finding job postings. And so I know from the previous call, which by the way was incredibly helpful. In particular, just wanted to thank you for your do a deep dive on the posts and look at the preferred and realize that those are the applicants. That whole thing was immensely useful over the past 2 weeks. But finding additional job postings. So my goal is to move rapidly towards the hidden job market that I'm uncovering through networking meetings.
Yeah.
In the meantime, and in parallel, I've been looking at postings only on LinkedIn, mostly because that's the quickest way for me to find out if I'm networked to them. Do you recommend any other Indeed, any other job posting services in particular for breadth? Related
Yeah.
question: do you recommend any fractional leadership placement firms and how to engage with them?
Oh, well, that I can't speak. So fractional. Well, okay, so that's a whole other question.
Okay,
Fractional
sorry.
leadership. That's a whole like. That's a whole. Honestly, it's like literally a separate category unto itself. There are some consulting firms that provide fractional sources. I don't know names per se. I know one like in California called Wolfstad, I think, or something. Anyway, I have a friend who is a fractional COO. So that's its own thing. But as far as job boards, what I do, I don't know if you heard me mention that. There are just in Google, right? Um, you can do a search for jobs, like literally just doing a search. So for example, Don, if you wouldn't go ahead and in fact all of you can do this. Just go to Google right now and put in whatever your job, project management jobs near me, human resources jobs near me, whatever your profession is. Okay. And what should come up are a list of roles. And what you would do is you would there's a little button that says jobs. John, we'll just use you as a test case. Are you seeing this?
Yes.
You want to go ahead and share your screen so everybody can see it?
Yeah. 1 second.
Right. That's exactly it. So strategic initiative jobs near me, all, and then what you'll see down here is you start scrolling. Okay. And like I want you to click on, oh, sorry, see the 100 plus more jobs. Okay. Now just click on one of them. Anyone. Okay, good. Do you see this? Now, see those little blue buttons? No, not the blue, not the, oh, that's good too. See where it says apply on Lockheed, apply on Indeed, apply on ZipRecruiter? What that's showing you is that job is posted on all of those boards. What's interesting, and that's really the answer to your question. What's interesting is that you might occasionally find a job that's posted on kind of an offbeat board. I'll give you an example. When this was being shown to me by a colleague, the sample one we did was marketing jobs. Well, as it turns out, there was this marketing job in, I don't know, California or something, and it was on something called NBC Showbiz.com. Basically, NBC, I think, has like its own, or no, Showbiz job. That's right. NBC had a posting, and it was on something called showbizjobs.com. Why in the world would anybody here in the DMV know about that? We wouldn't. It's a kind of a trade board, right? Very specific, but it came up on this search. So there are these random job boards, that are specialized to careers, to certain career fields and certain industries that people have no idea about, but this is the aggregator that will show all of these things to you. And again, to my other point, so here Lockheed has this job on every job board. Well, guess what? You can go to Lockheed's and should go to Lockheed's own website, look for the job on their website and apply there. That's going to be honestly your best, most direct in.
And you mentioned presumably this is, yeah, last 3 days. Okay, got it.
Oh, and then exactly right. So you see, right, date posted. So then you can do a filter. You can do a filter. Last 3 days. Actually, I would do even last day. Isn't there one for that? Yesterday. Yesterday. Do the yesterday jobs. Remember, if you have an 8x chance bet 8x percentage chance of getting seen if you apply within 96 hours.
Excellent. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, and for everybody on the call too, as a former internal recruiter, which I didn't recruit in these crazy times, but um, to that aggregator point, I think I've said this before on the call. Some different places that I work, we had the budget to pay for an aggregator, and we could select which job boards we wanted to, this job to go besides our main website. And I could just go down a list of 50 job boards, 20 job boards, 30 job boards, and there's a lot of there was obscure ones. This is like 8-10 years ago. Now there's tons more. To the question that he asked, you can also Google, top 50 job boards or top 30 job boards, and there's a lot of obscure job boards out there. Remote. There's so many. There used to only be like one remote job thing. Now I think there's like a million. So there's a lot of job boards that companies don't always aggregate to all of them. So you definitely should be trying new things, trying new places. Everybody uses LinkedIn because you're there and you can click on the easy apply, and the same thing with Indeed, but you really should expand your reach if you haven't, just to look at some other places. LinkedIn, a lot of people are complaining. I mean, you can still find a job there, but a lot of people are complaining depending on your industry, because as soon as they post it, everybody's on LinkedIn, 100, 200,
Hundreds
300,
and
400
hundreds and
people.
hundreds of applications in the first 24 hours.
Yeah, there was a post on LinkedIn. This goes back a while, but this was an HR director who posted within 24 hours, they got 1,500 resumes for a single job. So think about it from the, and being in HR, I spent a lot of my career in HR, 1,500 resumes. There's no way I'm going to look at all of those 1,500.
So what's happening now is that companies are actually using AI. So they're hiring AI companies that have an AI platform to actually filter, to help them with the vetting. So that AI tool will like sort of overlay on top of those 1,500 resumes and cull them down by keyword and give them, I'm making this up, the top 20, let's say, right? So no longer does which actually is a good thing, because without that tool, the chances of an eyeball actually looking at your resume are slim to none. At least this gives you a little bit of more of a fighting chance if you're
qualified.
If you qualify. Something that everybody, I want to say this slowly and clearly, okay? When you are looking, particularly when you're looking at a position that has been publicly posted, don't just apply to the job because you're interested. I want to let that hang in the air for a minute. Don't just apply to the job because you're interested. That will not get you seen. You need to be qualified and really qualified. I know people talk about, oh, take a chance and all. When the job is publicly posted, they are looking for a unicorn, and they have the opportunity to find the unicorn because it is such a flooded market. John was referencing this earlier, what I said last time. When the job posting says such and such a skill or such and such an industry background is preferred, they don't mean, oh, well, it's nice to have. It's the opposite. They're saying we are going to give priority consideration to the people who have that skill or who have that industry background. They will wait until they can find it because they're looking for the unicorn. You must be qualified. Look at the first few bullets of the responsibility section, which is really the place where they are leaning into this is what they want you to do. In the first few bullets of the qualification section, those two areas will tell you if you are qualified. The other layer on that, in terms of your interest level, is to make sure that you're not just jumping down to what I call bullet number 5, which is the bullet that you love, and say, oh, that's my job. You have to look at it in totality. What are they really saying? What do they really want you to be doing? And that's not just in bullet number 5. That's all the bullets, particularly the top section. Read the summary, read the responsibilities, read the quals, really kind of put your arms, what do they really want? Who do they need me to be? What do they need me to do? Am I really qualified? Am I really interested? Then hit apply if it's a job board. If you're going through your network, and to John's point, the whole accessing the hidden job market, that is through your network. When you can get referred into a role, particularly one that's not even on the market or is just a twinkle in somebody's eye, that's when people can get creative around you. Then it's like, oh, who are you? I'll just give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I was at a conference, an OD conference, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I had known she was in transition, and she landed. I said, "Oh, so what are you doing?" And she says, "Well," she says, "they hired me because of me, like they knew my reputation and they knew my skills. They're creating something for me." She said, "I can't even tell you what my job is yet. They're literally creating a job for me through networking, through reputation." Okay, that happens. It does happen. She did not have any competition because it was just her. They wanted her. That's the power of networking. When your reputation shows up before your resume, then you can be the person that gets the job created for them. You can be the person that is where there's very little competition. You can be the person where they're just, you guys morph something together or right beyond the job boards. That's why we keep pushing you away from the job boards. They're just so flooded, right? Go after your network. Monica?
You know, I just,
I think
Hey,
Vern was,
oh, I'm
I
sorry.
think me and Vern were
Well,
gonna,
I'll make a quick point.
Apologies.
I'll make a quick point. Again, um, the last 3 jobs in my career, I was not looking for a job. Someone in my network came to me and said, "Are you still interested in getting into career management?" I said, "Absolutely." Had no idea that the company was even hiring. Didn't know, but she knew enough about me, and she had a connection to the company, made the introduction, and I landed that job. And that happened to me twice after that, where people in my network told me about a job. So I just can't say enough about the importance of really talking to your relationships and making sure people know you, know your skills, know what you're looking for. And in Shira's example, they even though they didn't have a job for this person, there was something about her, her personality, her skills that they knew, and they felt that was going to be a good ad for their company, their organization. So
I have a couple of things. One of them is a testimonial to that point too that you reminded me about. But going back to the applying, because some of you still will apply, and you will. I think on this call we push you away from it, but we know that it's still going to happen, and you should keep it as part of your job search. But to the point of the first 24 hours, um, as a recruiter, especially a corporate recruiter, when I posted a role, and I'll just use, I posted at 5 o'clock. I'm like, all right, I got to get this job posted. The manager wants it posted. Let me post it before I leave today, and then I'll come back tomorrow and see how it did. That's really the day in the life of an internal recruiter. Is coming back in the next day, looking at our priority roles, or it could be, depending on how urgent the role is, it could be, let me give it 2 or 3 days, and then I'll check it. I've got some other recruitments, but at some point we're going to peek at it to say, okay, all righty, overnight, 7 people. We do this every day. 7 people applied overnight. Okay. And then by lunch, I'm looking again. Okay, 25 more people. And so it's telling me as a recruiter within the first 24 hours, the first thing I'm saying is, okay, it's getting some traction. That doesn't mean anything though until I take a look to see, are they qualified first, which is the first thing I'm looking at. And we haven't done this on this call yet, but it might be good because some people go, oh, no, no, I'm sure I'm qualified. Look, but we haven't done a side by side of job description and a resume. And then we go back and forth and we match. And not only that, you may think in your head, like, oh, I'm qualified. Look, I've done that before. They're so picky sometimes. It almost needs to look verbatim. And so if they put, you got to have SQL, you got to have this, you got to have this, 3.0, they almost want the exact same language. Now, as a recruiter, I'm trained to look and match experience that's spoken in different languages. I'm the translator. Hiring managers are like, Alki, what are you doing handing me this resume? And I'm like, all right, let me translate it for you. Because they're looking for specifically what they put on there, because that's what's qualified to them is, hey, this matches exactly what we're looking for. But to the point about 24 hours, those people are going to get first looks. If it's an urgent role, we're going to interview those people first. unless, and I say we, I'm not an internal recruiter anymore, but internal recruiters, unless they work at a place that requires them to lay an eye on every resume, and some companies actually do, depending on where they are in the recruitment process. If you're not first, you're last, like Ricky Bobby, I always say that. If you're not in that first 24 hours, a lot of times it's over. And so for your start in your search and your filters, just go ahead and start with the first 24 hours first, because that's probably going to be your best shot. 3 days, depending on the role and how many applicants, you might still be good. But once it starts getting into a week, your chances start dwindling in a way. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, your chances start to dwindle. So when you're doing your search, one of the best uses of your time is to just do filters on job boards for the first 24 hours first, put your attention there, and then circle back and check on some of the other ones, because getting in first matters a lot of times. And I say this to everybody, I coach everybody I talk to. You may be great and you may be qualified, but if you're number 47 and they only looked at 11, it's not you, it's them. They just never got to you. They just never got to you because other people applied first. So be on early if you are going to use the job boards. And secondly, try to make sure the way you customize your resume looks almost identical to what the job description looks like.
It's got to have the right keyword. I mean, matched. I like to say, Macintosh apples to Macintosh apples, right? Not Gala to Fuji. If they say event planning and you said meeting planning, say event planning. I mean, it's really got to be that nuanced for them to, because it's all about keywords. If you're a recruiter and you're trying to use the database and you're filtering, you're putting in the keywords that match the role. And literally, the database won't find you if you have the wrong keywords. So
I
those
don't,
are
I don't, I don't know what the card game is. We used to call it matching, but when you turn we used to play and you turn all the cards over on the floor of the table or whatever, and you're doing
concentration.
matching. That's what internal recruiters do. I can say it because I did it. I'm doing matching. I'm looking at resumes. I already know what the job description is. I've already had the intake meeting with the hiring manager as well. I know exactly what they're looking for, what they're not looking for. I also have asked them, hey, if they don't have 4 years, but they got 3 years, is that okay? So I know what they will bend for also. So when I start turning over cards, if I get an ace and get an ace of spades and get a four of hearts over here, I'm quickly just turning it down because it's not a match. It's not a match, and that's how hiring managers think. They're like, nope, it's not a match, Alki. If it's close, it'll be looked at. And even after that, once we get the pile of matches, now we're looking to see, okay, which one of these cards looks like it's 12 years old, which one is a brand new deck. That's what happens after the matches are done. They're now looking to see what's the best, freshest, newest standout out of this bunch. What are the first top two, three? That's how recruiters are thinking. So when you say I'm qualified or I think I'm qualified, you really need to match. Last thing I'll say that I forgot a second ago is when you do apply for roles and you're like, I just want to throw a hat in the ring. Remember, we said this on this call before too. You're junking up the system so that when you apply for the next job, other people have now jumped it up for you because they're not even qualified. And it's just another reason why you're not getting seen. And it's kind of like recycling. Everybody says, oh, don't throw that down on the ground. You're making it tougher for everybody else. It's the same thing. Don't junk up the job boards. Have that integrity so that you help each other out as job seekers.
Yes, 100%. Thank you, Aki. Monica.
Well, I just wanted to throw in that the Google aggregator, in my experience, misses important jobs. I've found instances where Oracle Health jobs that were sent to me by direct email because I signed up for alerts were not on Google aggregator, and I've identified a number of roles through idlist.org that were not part of Google Aggregator. And so I don't know what's going on with Google Aggregator. I don't know if some people's job boards are, programming websites, you can program no index. And I don't know if somebody's
So
doing
I
it
would
on
I would
purpose.
suggest that it's probably better than not doing it, right? Because you're going to probably get more job boards than you normally would out of LinkedIn. But to your point, it may not catch everything, but it'll
Yeah.
probably catch more than what you would get if you didn't use it.
Yeah, no, I'm yeah. My point is that it definitely does not catch everything,
Okay.
and so yeah, I mean I'm without a doubt, at least in what the jobs I'm looking for are not they're not that some are, but some key ones are not.
Okay. All right. So other questions, because I do want to do some actual networking with us today. Anything else? All right. So let's go ahead and jump into some real life networking. And we've done this before where we go around go around the room and talk about the kind of role we're looking for and the kind of industry that we're in. And we're going to start doing what Alki was talking about. We're going to play that matching game, okay? But we're going to do it with the networking. So the way that I call this lane versus community. Your lane is what you do. Your community is who you do it for. Now, to help us out here, we're going to have what I call a windshield conversation, not a rear view mirror. So when you go around the room, it's super, super, super quick. Okay, you'll state your name. Say, I'm Sonia Lee, and I am a human resources executive. My aspiration, my sector is government contracting. I believe that's more or less what you are, right? So that's it. That's all we're looking for. Because what I'm me, Alki, and Vern, what we're going to do is take some notes, and we're going to try to do some matching very, very fast, and then we're going to try to pair you up in a breakout room with people who are either a match with you in your lane or a match with you in your industry, preferably actually in your industry, because that we're going to hopefully that'll give you some wider expanse. When you're in that breakout room, we know you don't have a whole lot of time. This is really just a quick get to know you. We are hoping that this will lead to an offline conversation. Please, please, please consider giving each other information, contact information. And then as you talk a little bit about what you're looking for and the role and the industry, open up your LinkedIn, do a quick search in the search bar for that kind of role and see who you know. So if John is paired with Sonia, okay, so John, you'd open up your LinkedIn and in the search bar, you would put human resources, right? And see who comes up. And maybe there's somebody in your first level connections that could be a good connection for Sonia. And then hopefully you'll be open to making that introduction. Now, it's not a perfect system. We're limited in our time and our scope. This is not a deep dive. It's really just a taste test just to get you used to the experience of opening up your LinkedIn and helping each other find matches. Again, please, please consider going offline, all right, to do this. So with that, we'll go around the room. I'll mention who's up next, but again, no backstory, no future story, not all of your interests, just really, really clean. This is the role I'm looking for, and this is the ideal sector that I'd like to be in. Okay, so Sonia, Monica, then John.
Well, I feel like I've already been done.
I spoke for you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sonia Lee. I'm an HR executive. My background is between GovCon. I got over 20 years of GovCon, but lately I've gotten quite a bit of nonprofit too.
Okay.
So,
GovCon and nonprofit.
yeah,
All right, cool.
either or.
Okay, great.
And that's all I'll say.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to go quick as a bunny right around. So Monica.
Okay, my lane is communications and marketing. Most of my career my community has been with the U.S. Agency for International Development. And so what I would love to do is pivot my career to serving veterans. There's a long story I'll skip, but that's what I would love to do.
Thank you. All right, John.
You're on mute, John.
Take two. I'm John Cornwell. I lead development and execution of strategy, and I work with mission-centered organizations.
Okay, got it. All right, and then we've got Mark, and then Celeste.
Good morning. I'm Mark Pretzett. I'm an attorney and I work in the banking and financial services area, and I'm seeking work in that area.
And you're also a lawyer.
And yes.
All right. So we've got Celeste, and then Mike, and then Neha. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Okay.
I'm Celeste Gregory. I'm in the social impact community development sector, and I'm looking for roles in director level roles in strategy and impact.
Okay. Got it. All right. And then Mike, Neha, and Peter, and then Julie.
So I'm Mike Lenart. I'm an IT executive, led architecture, data, software, AI engineering. I've been in multiple industries: healthcare, property and casualty insurance, financial services, and out of New England.
Neha?
Hi, everyone. My name is Neha. I am in development and am targeting nonprofit development roles.
Okay, and then Peter, and then I know Peter, you're not actually looking for a job, so but you're welcome to, be part of it if you like.
Sure. Peter Huang, speechwriter, public affairs, and nonprofits.
Okay, great. And I'm so sorry. I just had something happen to my computer where I just lost my Zoom. I can hear everybody, but my screen just I just lost my screen. This isn't fun. Boy.
I think I was next.
Okay, great.
I'm Julie. I'm an attorney also, and my background is in project finance with policy areas in veterans, environment, and transportation. I'm looking for in-house. I also do strategic advising.
Okay, great. Oh, I just got my computer back. Great. Okay, so I know Mark and Julie, you have typically been paired up. We're gonna have to do that again today because you're just, I think, closest. And Alki and Vern, if you can help me out here, I was thinking to put Monica, Celeste, and Neha. I think you all kind of have a social impact sort of, you're in that social impact world. And maybe John and this isn't an elegant pairing today. So I think what we'll do is we'll put Sonia, John, and Mike together, Monica, Celeste, and Neha, and then Mark and Julie. Alki and Vern, do you think anything differently? Or anyone on the call, do you think that the should be different pairings?
Yeah, I
I
was gonna
think
say you stuck John somewhere, but I was gonna say yeah, maybe he had an intrigue elsewhere, but you did it.
Okay.
Can you add like either Alki or Vern or you with Mark and I? Because you always put us together
Oh, I
and we're
know.
only talking to each other,
Each
and
other,
it'd be
I know.
helpful if someone else joins us.
Alki, would you mind joining their room?
Oh, sure.
GR, I might be a better fit to talk to Julie and Mark.
Okay. All right,
And,
great. So
Okay.
I will put you there. And we're doing, so let me just make sure. Celeste and Monica, Neha, and then one second.
I wanted to throw in you probably saw my note there though, or did you see that little note?
I didn't. Sorry.
Just a testimonial. I forgot it earlier. A networking testimonial from a candidate that I thought might be encouraging.
Okay. How about we'll talk about, if you can remind me when we come back to the main room.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to give you guys actually I'm going to give you 15 minutes because we have several people in the crowd in the rooms, and then that's it. So again, you'll go around the room, just briefly share what you're looking for. Each person in turn opens up your LinkedIn, goes to the search bar, types in the title of the role that person. If it's Sonia, right, and it's John, and John opens up and says, puts in HR, see who you know in HR. That might be helpful. I know this is not a perfect system. We're just kind of testing the waters here and seeing if we can get some synergies. But again, please go offline and have those robust conversations. John?
Yeah, just quick question because I haven't done this before. If
Sure.
I type human resources into the search bar of LinkedIn,
Yeah.
people will pop up. Is that
Yes, people will pop up. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I'll do a quick I will do a quick training.
got it? Scroll down, people, it shows our okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so basically, just for everybody's sake, we'll just do this super fast.
And the key is when you look at those contacts, what's your relation to those contacts? because we all know we have people on LinkedIn who are linked to us, but we don't even know them.
Right.
So it's the people in that list, if you know them really well and you believe you could introduce the other person to them, then that's really what we're
That's
looking
the
for
powerful
here.
thing.
Yeah.
Very true. So for
Yeah.
example, I put in human resources and then I'm going to hit the people button. And then I'm going to hit the first button. All right. And so here I have all of these folks, right? All these first levels. And what I might do is I might look down the list. If I were in that room with Sonia, I might look down the list and say, oh, Patty, which Sonia, I know you know Patty.
I've seen several people.
I know we're in the same community, so of course.
That I know.
I know
I know
this is the
April
wrong list, right?
McWilliams. I know Patty.
Of
Yeah.
course, of course, of course. We're in the same world. But in any event, hypothetically, right? If you didn't know Patty, I might say, because I know Patty, and I might say, hey, let me introduce you to Sonia. Okay, so like that kind of, that's what we're looking for. So just put, whatever the title is in the search bar, hit the people button, hit the first button, and then like that. And if you want, then you can just hit the reset button over here. By the way, I just noticed something, Alki. Did you notice this when you're doing a search normally, it comes up with first, second, and third. I did it yesterday and third came up. Only first and second came up right now. Alki, did you know, is there a change? Didn't
No,
see
I
a
just
change?
saw third yesterday when I was looking.
I
So
did it yesterday, but this is, hold
I
on.
see third.
You do see,
hopefully,
I see third.
that's so interesting. I wonder why I'm only seeing second.
is your screen maximized?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just showing first and second. How odd. Hmm. Okay. Well, anyway, there it is.
Well, your screen went dark on you too, so maybe something's going on.
Well,
Um,
no, anyway, I'll keep playing with it, but hopefully you'll see thirds. But the point though is that if you see, try to go for your try to go for your first levels and see, to Alki's point, do you know that person well enough to do an introduction? That's our goal.
and one of the other things to add to, just for expectations, and I know Sherry said too, this is kind of a dry run. We're not really going deep. But one other thing is, do you know this person well enough to make an introduction? And then one step after that is, yeah, what would we talk about if I did do an introduction?
Mhm.
Is, what would you get out of that? Would that be a meaningful introduction or connection for you to talk about where they work, to talk about industry things, to ask them, if they can introduce you to someone, or have they heard about opportunities, or can you just be on their radar in case they do hear something, this is kind of where we're building with this.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation around what the content of that networking meeting should be. But really, it should be about exploring synergies, right? And making sure that you all are a good match for each other and you can help each other. It's not just you putting your hand out for a job. You're there to help them too. And hopefully by exploring the fact that you are in parallel fields, that there's some natural synergies there. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and open up these rooms. All right, so I'm giving you guys 15 minutes and ready, set, go.
I messaged Sonia and told her that she actually
Give
just
one
crossed.
second. I'm just going to press pause on the recording.